Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to the Wildflower Wills YouTube channel. I'm Louise from Wildflower Wool, and it's Monday, which means it's cast on day. I have got a new project ready for this week's cast on that you were helping me decide on by voting for. So we're going to talk about the two patterns that you were voting for, which one was the winner this week, last week's project, and I have a couple of finishes to show you. So stick around because finishes do not happen a whole lot around here. Sometimes it feels like they're very few and far between, and I have a couple to show you tonight. So let's talk about the voting. So I don't have any, well, I do have yarn. I didn't post this in the in any of the places for voting on, but this is what we've got here. This is the yarn that I am going to knit this baby sweater in. So hold on for a second here. I just want to make sure that, yep, everything looks like, okay, looks like we're good. Looks like we're live. So Patton's Classic Wool. Hey, Liz, how are you? Happy Monday. So Patton's Classic Wool, Superwash DK yarn. Oh, Susanna's here too. Good, good, good. So I have got a bunch of this in my stash. Very neutral color. What is it? Flagstone. I've got a ton of this. I've got a couple of other projects on the go with this DK yarn, but I thought this neutral color would be perfect for the baby sweater. So this is the yarn that I'm going to use. The two patterns that I was choosing from was the baby tea leaves and Norwegian fur. So let me see. Let me pull up the pictures that I took this morning for the, just in case some people are here who didn't have a chance to vote, and I'll show you what they look like. Sorry, I can't share my screen. I'm not that tech savvy to pull up Ravelry, so bear with me here. This one here is baby tea leaves. So stockinette stitch. It's a yoke collar, and then it has this like ruching around here. The yeah, just a fancy little textured stitch there. That was option number one. This pattern, if I remember, goes up to 24 months, so 2 years. Not as quite as many sizes as the Norwegian fur. It used, both patterns used, one was DK, one was sport. In my mind, they're close enough to the same weight of yarn. You can play with your gauge, just a smidge your needle size. So that's why I'm thinking that this DK yarn will work for either pattern. Hi, Susanna. Do you need any oh, what's this? DK wool. Okay, I'm not sure what that is about. Or is that for, anyways? If I'm not getting what you're asking, Susanna, ask again, okay? Two cute little buttons at the top. So really, really super cute. Oh, Jade Heather. Oh, possibly. Why, do you have some that you're not using? Okay, so that was option one. That was baby tea leaves. There is also a tiny tea leaves, so I'm not sure if that is like a preemie size or if that's just newborn size, or maybe the tiny doesn't have the size, the larger sizes in there. Now this one here is one that I have had. Can you guys see that? Let me fix this a little. It's been in my favorites for a while. I actually saw a sample of this. Sorry, I know it's not very good, but can you get the gist of it here? See, look at that. I saw a sample of this at one of my local yarn shops here in London, London Yarns. And as soon as I saw this little sample knit up, I was hooked. I'm like, this is super, super cute. So it is knit top down and a raglan. So you just have the whole, like the only little fancy detail on the whole sweater is just in the raglan increases with that lace pattern. Isn't that super cute? So again, it just has one, whoop, let's go here. It has one button at the top. So really, really cute. Okay, I think I saw somebody else just voted. What was that for? Baby tea leaves? Anyways. So, hi Cindy, hi Susanna, hi Amanda, Mary, hello ladies, Nancy, Alice. Hope you all have your knitting and getting comfy. So those were the two patterns. baby tea leaves, Norwegian fur. Baby tea leaves I've had in my favorites for a long, long time. The Norwegian fur was one that I saw just a few months ago when I was at London Yarns, probably shopping for a new knitting needle. That's usually what I tend to go there for because they've got a always have a good stock of different knitting needles. So this morning, Monday morning, you guys know how this whole thing goes. I wake up Monday morning, I'm kind of like, "Ooh, what do I feel like knitting this week? What would I love for this week's project to be?" And I thought, "Ooh, that baby sweater," because I finished the baby hat. So now I feel like I've got the hat finished, which I'll show you in a second. I needed another baby knit. So my granddaughter, still technically in the baby stage, but I mean, she's a toddler now, right? She's a little bit over a year. And I thought, well, if I knit a size 2 and the baby tea leaves goes up to a 2, the Norwegian fur goes up, I think, to like 8, like age 8 or 9 or size 8 or 9. It has some larger children's sizes in it, which would be super cute. But for my needs for Scarlett, either one would do. And I think either one is super cute. One's garter, one's stockinette stitch, one's yoke, one's raglan. I mean, really, can't go too far wrong, right? Um, so you guys all voted. There was 136 votes, so there was a good number of votes today. And it was close. The last couple of weeks has been really leaning one way or the other. You guys had definite thoughts about what you were voting on the last couple of weeks. This one was really close. I was adding up all the votes here on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and it was really oh, Cindy, you didn't see the voting? Oh, shoot. Well, what one would you vote for? Did you see the pictures? Baby tea leaves or Norwegian fur? And just type it in the chat, just out of curiosity. Which one would you knit if you were casting on one? So it was really close. Every time it was like 2 for this, 3 for this, 1 for this, 2 for this. Da, 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 da. It was like really, really close. Oh, Cindy says baby tea leaves. Okay. Um, what were some of the comments? There's a couple of ladies who voted who are from Norway, so they definitely voted for the Norwegian fur. um, but of course, how can you not, right? Somebody had said they had knit, I think it was a Norwegian fur for the granddaughter. Somebody had knit, I think it was a Norwegian fur. They said they had knit it and would definitely knit it again. Now, somebody else had knitted the Norwegian fur and said they didn't care for the fit on the baby. So that is something to keep in mind, I guess. Oh, Susanna. Oh, okay. Hi, Nikki. Oh, Cindy's voting for baby tea leaves. Okay. Well, I see Liz is giving me the drum roll here. So, I mean, there was a lot of votes, right? It was super close. And I mean, really, you can't go wrong with either one because they're both really, really cute. I haven't knit either one of them before. I just had them in my favorite, so I can't really vouch for which pattern is better. But we're going to try one of them here this week. So out of 136 votes, the winning pattern had 54% of the votes. So it was pretty close. And that pattern that I'm going to cast on with this lovely neutral yarn, there we go, is the Norwegian fur. It was close. It was close. Baby tea leaves was like, they were both close. So, but it is going to be Norwegian fur. That was the one that snuck out ahead. I can't wait. I mean, either one, both of them are ones that I would like to, but I would say if I had been voting today, I would have voted Norwegian fur. So I'm glad it kind of went that way. But I would have been fine to do the other one too, because I think they would both be super cute. So superwash yarn, I think this will work good for my daughter because then obviously she can just throw it in the wash, in the dryer too, I'm assuming, or lay it flat to dry is typically what I would do, but I know she's going to throw it in the dryer. So that's okay. A good yarn for, wash and dry. At least we're going to dry it. What does it say on here? It does say dryable. So it's going to be. Now, I am actually going to really try to get this one done quick. Like not going to, this one's not going to stay on the needles. I'm really hoping that this one will definitely be done by the end of the month, but maybe in the next couple of weeks. I have a couple of vacation days coming up here. So I'm hoping that this will be a good project that I can work on. So Norwegian fur, you guys. Excellent voting. I have to say, I was maybe a little hopeful one way or the other this week. Most times I'm totally open to anything, whatever. But yeah, I think I was secretly hoping that this one was going to be the winner, and it did. Okay, so has anybody in the chat, has anybody knit either one of these patterns before? I think I'm going to go. So Norwegian fur, so it's the one that has a good selection of sizes. So, but I think a size 2. I think a size 2. I'll probably look at the actual measurements, and when I see Scarlett again, I will do a quick measure, or I'll have Anita give me some measurements just to see, and then knit the size larger is what I think I will do. So then she'll have it for end of summer, cool evenings into the fall and into the winter. And oh, Alyssa, you're on a roll still. That's awesome. And if Anita really, really likes it, then I can always do a bigger size and a, bit larger one for springtime wearing or something like that. But I think it'll be really fun if you can find just one really cute large button. And I have a button stash, you guys. So I don't know though if there'll be anything in there because I have a button stash, but I was always thinking sweaters for me. And sweaters for me are not necessarily going to be super cute and girly, right? For a little one. So I may just have to head back to the store to see if I can get a button, like something that's, I mean, all the buttons I bought for myself are brown or black. Kind of neutral, nice wooden ones, but I'm thinking maybe for Scarlett, something that is, I don't know, purple or a red or something fun and something bright. How many balls does it take? I don't know, Susanna. I don't know. I looked at the yardage on one, and it might have been 550-gram balls, 5 or 6. I don't know. I'll have to look. Oh, Cindy, you just looked at the pattern. It's cute. It is really cute, isn't it? I like how I love garter stitch. Garter stitch, well, you guys all know, right? Because I knit all these garter stitch shawls. I just love them because they're soft, they're squishy, and I think that'll be cute for the little baby sweater. So that is it. I'm really, really excited. Now I have to look for needles. That might be a little tricky, but you know what? I was doing a little bit of tidying. This has been a long weekend for us here in Canada. So I've been doing some knitting, some gardening, some tidying, and I came across another set of interchangeable needles. The very first set that I ever got as a gift back at least 15 years ago, and they were the boy. It's not boil, that's boy, isn't it? And they were wonderful when I got them, but the cables on them are not near as nice as most of the cables that are out there for all the new interchangeable needles. But I opened up this interchangeable kit, and almost all the needle tips were in there with some cables. So I actually had to use a cable. I had to move a project onto a longer cable. So I'm actually using those. And they work okay. The needle tips are nice. The cords are not the nicest, but you know what? They work. And it's allowing me to cast on. So I'll probably take a look in there and see what I can find for needles. Oh, Cindy's, look at this. You guys are all so good checking things out. Cindy says 656 to 711 yards, 600 to 650 meters in DK. And what is the yardage on here? 114 meters. So, yeah, but 6 balls then, roughly. Okay, 6 balls. All right, and I think I've got 6 of these. Exactly 6. Okay. Well, that is gonna work out well. Won't be able to make it any longer probably, but that's okay. All right, I just told you I had a finished baby hat, so let's take a peek at that. This one, do you remember the project from when was that? 2 weeks ago? 2 or 3 weeks ago? Maybe 2. I started the 10 stitch baby hat. Well, it is all done. It is all done. So we're going to talk about my thoughts on this pattern. But first, I will show you the yarn that I use. So of course, I had the pattern called for sock weight yarn. So I used some Croy because that's what I had in my stash. Because I have a whole bunch of this. It said it would take 30 grams of yarn. I didn't weigh this. This is a 50-gram ball, and this is what's left. I'm guessing that there's about 20 grams in here. We're probably a little more than half done. And so there would be enough in here probably to knit the small size. This is actually the large size. There is one smaller than this. So I used 2.75 millimeter needles. That's what the pattern called for. So that's what I went with. And just use DPNs. You could use well, you could use anything. You could use straights, you could use circulars, you could do long, anything. But you only have 10 stitches on at a time, so you really don't need a big, long circular needle like you would for Magic Loop. I think I had said that when I originally talked about this on that Monday night, said that I would probably find like a long circular. And somebody left me a comment. They're like, "Oh no, just use DPNs. That's all you're going to need." And you're absolutely right. DPNs worked super, super good. So I used DPNs 2.75 millimeters for stock weight yarn. I cast on for the large size. And we'll do a little recap here. So if you remember, the week that this was the project, oh, my progress marker. I'm like, what is in the middle of this hat? Okay, and I still haven't turned inside out from when I sewed the ends in. Okay, look at that. I was using this as my progress marker, like kind of my beginning and end of the round, which you didn't really need to move. I just kind of eyeballed where it was. But isn't that marker amazing? Where are we? There. That's when Crex Fibers, I believe, is where that one came from Knit City, Toronto. I'm so glad I bought this. It was a little bit of a treat purchase for myself, but it's all leather with beads, handmade, super, super cute. So back to the hat. The week that I cast on, I was so gung-ho because I thought, oh my gosh, like just look at the construction of this. Modular, you knit in stripes, you join it as you go. It's like, how can you not like that? Like, what a cool pattern idea. And I thought, this would be amazing, right? What do you do with little leftovers if you don't want to do like a mitered square blanket, or if you're not keeping them, if you're not a stripy sock kind of person? What do you do with part balls? And immediately I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to love this. And I'm just going to make a bazillion of them. Every part ball or 50-gram ball that isn't enough for a full pair of socks. I'm just going to make all these hats. I'm going to donate them. And then I knit one. And I'm like, yeah, I probably will not knit this again. Maybe if somebody saw it and absolutely loved the pattern, and would I do it again? Yes, I would do it again. It definitely was more fun. um, if once I got going on it, I did get stuck. You might remember if you caught that Monday night video the week after I'd been working on this for a week, you would have heard me say that I had almost thrown the whole thing like in the garbage. I was gonna like rip it all out and not finish it. I was done with it because the doing this initial circle here, you can see they're just done in all these little pie shaped. Easy peasy. Doing this circle, Super, super easy. And then I stitched it up, I think right here. I just kind of whip stitched it together there. Easy. Then you did this first round, and that's where I was having a little bit of trouble just understanding the pattern, and it could have totally been me that maybe just the way the instructions for um well, actually, I think the first part was fine. I think it was when I finished the first round. There was wraps and turns and there was increases, and I think that part was okay. It was when I got to this little increase section here. And that was the part that I had a really hard time understanding how getting that second round started. And and even in the pattern, she does say once you get that done, her next sentence is from here on out, it's easy, I promise. It's like something like that, or it's easier from here on out, like you're over the hard part. And I thought, okay, it wasn't just me trying to get this fiddly little part. So I ended up just taking a really close look at the picture and seeing what it was supposed to be like, and I just did my own thing just for those few rounds. And then you didn't have to worry about it again. It was just literally that little this little corner section right here, this little triangle. And once that was done, it was good. Now I did have some trouble and I left two spots here so I could show you. See which way? There and there. I did have trouble. At one point, I did pull out one whole round, this whole strip all the way around, because, and it was about that far apart. I just seemed to every, however many stitches that is, there would be one, I would join it, and it would just not be nice and smooth. And at first I thought, "Oh, I'm just so done with this pattern, I just wanna get it done." But in the end, I pulled it out I pulled it all out back to there, and then I didn't have I didn't have too much trouble with it after that. There's a couple that are a little bit wonky, but for the most part, and I don't really know. So at one point, I was just knitting it just to see if I could figure out what was causing it to either have a little lean or to have sometimes it would have like a little yarn thread over it. So I don't know. I had a couple of ideas, but see, you can see down here, once I got going on it again, this down here turned out really, really nice and neat. So I'm not sure. There was one, I did play around with two options. As you're knitting your little strip, you've got an outside edge. So you can see on this one here, I slipped them. So I did do some rounds where I just knit. And then on the next round, I had to come back in and pick up along the knitted edge. And then other rounds I knit and where I slipped the stitch. Honestly, oh, I didn't really find once I got paying really close attention to how I was picking up the stitches, it didn't matter which way I had done them. Both ways, a knit edge or a slipped edge, um, was cute. So I don't know what I was doing or what I really don't know. Um, I'm wondering if it was how I was picking up, if I twisted it picking up, if I just wasn't paying attention. I don't know. Anyways, that was kind of what got me through the last couple of rounds doing it, was just trying to see if I could pinpoint, catch myself picking it up one way or the other. Don't really know. Anyways, it was once I got going on it, it was kind of fun, but it took a really, really long time for me to knit a little itty bitty baby hat. So I would say if you're somebody who likes doing different techniques and likes doing modular knitting, that part was fun. Um, then maybe this is a pattern for you. If you want to get a baby hat done for a new little baby, or you want to whip through some leftover yarn, this maybe is not, well, maybe this wasn't the pattern for me. The other thing I also found as I started decreasing, the bottom down here seemed to get even tighter, which for a little itty bitty baby might not be a bad thing, but it would probably fit a newborn's head. Anyways, that was kind of, yeah, Liz says it's cute, but I still think it's too much work. Yeah. That's kind of what I'm chalking it up to. It was fun to do. Would I do it again? Probably not. But the idea of doing a 10 stitch blanket, if it was just strips without too much fiddling, I might. I might contemplate that. Ah, Susanna, look, practice makes perfect. That's right. And sometimes you just need to do one project that has different techniques in it. Sometimes you just gotta work through one project to get kind of the kinks and find your groove and all that kind of stuff, right? So probably if I was to do it again, it would go faster. And I think knowing that where the little fiddly part is and just get through that to know that it's like more straightforward from there on out would probably um would make knitting it a second time easier if I really, really wanted to. Um, oh, love the pooling of colors. Yeah, it did. The colors are fun on here. That part, it is, and I do like the idea of how it knits together was certainly fun to do for sure. So, I wouldn't necessarily, I don't know, what would I give it? A 6 out of 10 maybe? You know, if you're up for a little bit of a challenge, want to try something different, it's only 30 grams of yarn. So really it's not that much knitting time if you want to give it a whirl. Um, oh, Susie, yes, there is a blanket called Jelly Roll that is strips like that. See, that one maybe I should look into and see what the difference is between the 10 stitch blanket and the Jelly Roll and see if they're basically the same. Because I do kind of like the idea. Like I've got this little itty bit left over. And I'm like, ooh, I should just knit this into, and that's why I was thinking about the 10 stitch blanket was I thought I should just start knitting a strip and, use up this ball and just kind of color block it, just knit leftovers and it goes as far as it goes and then do add on another color and another color. Just have a blanket permanently on the needles, and just use up every last little bit. Anyways, that is the Jelly Roll blanket. I'm gonna check that out and see what it's like compared to this. But anyways, it's done. It's done. And yeah, it's done. So it's July 1st, you guys. So that means, holy smokes, the first 6 months of the year are gone. They're done. So I'm going to take a little look at my Ravelry board and maybe for next week or the week after, I might do a little recap as to where we are, how many projects have been cast on, how many were finished. I had thought about doing that for tonight because probably would have been a good idea to do it on July 1st, first Monday right after the first 6 months of the year. But I didn't. I went for a walk with a friend today because the weather was so beautiful. So I didn't have a chance to do that. So we'll maybe look at that in the next couple of weeks. So baby hat, done. So I can say if I have a little baby that, arrives, I do have a little hat that I could gift to somebody. What else? I worked on a few other, oh my gosh, I have another finish. You guys, if you watched Saturday with the Fiber Friends, you would have seen this finish. But I will show it to you again because I think there's probably some people here who don't watch on Saturday mornings. My Christmas shawl, scarf, however you want to call it, is done. Is done. This guy has been on the needles. Probably, I'm guessing I cast it on last November, probably right when the Christmas movie started on the Hallmark Channel. I'm guessing I probably found this sparkly sock yarn and cast on an asymmetrical scarf, shawl, and I finished it this week. Last weekend I was showing it to you. I knew I didn't have very much yarn left, but I thought, oh, it probably. I'm like, I don't want to say for sure that I'll have it done next week. I was hoping the following next week I would have had it done, but I finished it this week, right down to that last little bit. I measured out my yarn. I just did just a regular cast off on this, nothing fancy. And I made sure, I think I measured out 5 widths of my project. I made sure I had that much yarn left and I just made it. So, yeah, there was my cast off edge right along there. Nothing fancy. I just tried to cast off loosely with just a regular old bind off. And so let me show you. This is the final width. I knit it on 4 millimeter needles with sock yarn. So I knew I wanted it to be a loose drapey gauge. So this is kind of the depth of it. You see, there's the point. And I love how it turned out. So this is where I cast on here with 5 stitches, and it's got nice wide stripes. And then they obviously got narrower and narrower until up here at the top. But it's still, this yarn worked out good because the colors still went all the way across. So I like it how the stripes just got a little there. I like how it turned out. I like the size. I like how the striping worked. The 4 millimeter needle gives it a really, really nice. So where are we here? There's my ends. So you could just tuck it in like that. And this is how I typically just like to wear one skein shawls, which of course really is just like a scarf or a big cowl. So there it is. So this, I'm set. This is going to stay with me. I'm going to keep this and then wear it November, December. And I did have the idea that I would knit one of these for all the people in my family for Christmas. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of thinking about color choices for people, but this one's going to be for me. And I'm going to work on some for my mom and my daughter. And we'll see. We'll see. I'll have to do a little thinking about that. That'll be some New Start Mondays coming up, I'm sure. I'll kind of pick out yarns that I think would be good gift colors for people. And then I just may start working on holiday knits right shortly, you guys, which will be um, kind of a first for me. I always think about it in July, but I don't think I've ever done it. I typically always start, October 20th would be probably the earliest. Into November is probably more accurate when I will start. So one done. So this and the baby hat, my 2 finishes for this week. I finished the fresh pressed flowers hat last week. So yeah, on a little bit of a roll here with finishes is very, very exciting. Oh, Susanna, you have one on the needles. What do you have on the needles? A sock yarn shawl? Oh, Nancy, kind of neat how the yarn knit up. It did. The sock yarn. It was Patton's Croy and Dad's Jacquard is the colorway. It did knit up really fun, didn't it? Yeah, I did really like that. Oh, Sam is here. Hello. Hi, Diane. Thank you. Very nice, Nancy said. Thanks. It will look nice, won't it? At Christmas time, I'm very excited. And the fact that I have it all done. Well, I mean, the fact that I started it last November, I shouldn't be like super excited about having it done early because I'm a whole year late technically, but we're just going to kind of just forget that and just think I'm early for this year. So, oh, Liz, you're on the toe of another sock. You are just knitting socks like crazy. It's so exciting. Oh, Susanna, you've got the 10 stitch hat on the needle? Oh my gosh. Okay. So you'll have to tell us your experience because you are probably going to say, oh, it's the easiest thing to knit and I'm having absolutely no problems with it, right? I did see that there was only 7 projects in Ravelry for this 10 stitch baby hat, which kind of surprised me. I thought there would have, I don't know, been at least double that, 20 some odd maybe, but there wasn't. So I'm not sure why. I mean, I know a lot of people, I mean, I'm like one of them. I don't always put my projects in and link them and that kind of thing. So, anyways, but yeah, there wasn't very many projects there to choose, like to look from and to see notes and see if what other people did with the pattern. Nancy, yes, I cast on 5 stitches, then I yarn over. I knit one, yarn over, knit to 2 stitches before the end, knit two together, knit one. And then I turn it around on the decrease side. On the next row, do nothing. You just knit across. And when you get to the end, which is on your increase side, you knit to the last stitch, yarn over, knit one. So I'm you've got one side is decreasing and one side is increasing. You do the yarn over every row. One row it's at the beginning, one row it's at the end. The knit two is only done every other row. Increase, decrease. The next row is start knitting straight and increase at the end. I am going to write it out. I am going to write it out for everybody who wants it. It's so super, super easy. So I'm going to work on that next week. Oh, Susanna said the socks are a pattern called the crocus shorties. Oh, I love that. Anything called flowers. It's just like the name, flowers. I instantly like it. Talking about socks. All right, you guys. I am so close to an almost finished sock. Almost. I am at the toes. I actually need to measure it again because I think I might have knit a little too far. I was just so excited. I was listening to an audiobook and I was just knitting round and round and round and round. And then all of a sudden I'm looking at it, I'm like, this looks like it could be close. So I stopped knitting. But this again, more Patton's Croy. This is the Midnight Orchid. And I'm so excited that I have seen a handful of other people who have made socks with. Um, oh, there was a finished pair. I want to say I want to say Sally, but I'm not sure if it was Sally or not. There was a finished pair that they were a plain vanilla sock with a heel flap and gusset. And then Carol did a pair and she did them all in the fancy rib stitch that Cheryl did the cuff of a different sock on. Carol knit it out of this yarn and they look super, super cozy. And then a couple of other people I saw have bought the yarn. So it's fun. There's going to be a bunch of us that are going to have matching socks. So this is my fish lips his. Okay, let me start that again. This is my fish lips kiss heel sock. And I like how it fits. I pulled it on. I've got it on little 9-inch needle and I can still try it on. And I didn't get up and walk on it or anything, but just putting it on my foot, this felt really nice. That's the fish lips kiss. And it was fun to knit. I am going to have to go back and look at the pattern because I did this, like a month and a bit ago. I did the heel and then I let the sock sit for, well, until this weekend. So I'm going to have to look at the pattern again and just, because I don't remember off the top of my head how to do this on sock too. So I'll have to go back to the pattern, read the instructions again, but it was very easy to do the first time. So I hopefully won't have any trouble doing sock number 2. But this was just a plain 64 stitch sock, 2x2 ribbing, plain leg. I think I went 6 inches maybe. I think I went 6 inches. It looks like this stripe here. And then I started working on the heel. And then I just picked it up and just knit the foot this weekend on it. Just love these colors. So, so fun. And I'm just going to do just a regular toe, nothing super fancy on here, but I am going to check the length because I might have to pull out, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 rounds or something. Might have gone just a teeny bit too long, but this should be finished for next week, and then I'll cast on sock 2. So 150-gram ball, I still have quite a bit of yarn left, which is telling me that I probably did a 6-inch leg instead of 7 inches. Sometimes I go 7 inches, and I find for me, because I have fairly small feet, I have like a size 7.5 foot. So I can, with Patton's Kroy, I can do a 7-inch leg, the heel, and then the foot, and I can get one sock out of a 50-gram ball. Patton's, because it's a little heavier, it doesn't have quite as much yardage as other sock yarns. So that's the one thing you do have to be careful of if you're doing a long leg, or if you have somebody who has a larger foot, or if you're doing 72 stitches, you might need a third 50-gram ball for your socks. Thanks, Dawn. Hi, Dawn. I absolutely love this. This is probably, I'm going to say right now, this is my favorite color that Patton's has out, the Midnight Orchid. I really, really like it. There is, I mean, they've got some other fun colors too, but right now, I'm thinking this is my favorite. So that is almost done. Oh, will I have a finished pair done? Hmm, I'm not going to make any speculations on that at the moment, because I started another shawl. Last week's project was another garter stitch asymmetrical shawl. So here it is started. I had two of these balls of yarn. This is Yarn Bee yarn. Um, Rainbow Rhapsody. I guess that must be um, the yarn name, and then the colorway is Teal of Fortune. So it's an acrylic cotton blend, 60/40, if I remember right, 60 cotton, 40 acrylic. And it calls for a 2.75 millimeter needle. And well, I went way bigger than that, because again, I wanted it to be drapey. So Teal of Fortune, you guys voted for the teal instead of the black. Did I put the black? Yes, yes, this is it right here. So the black would be nice, but it's summer, spring, summer. It is technically summer now, isn't it? That, yeah, this is very summery color, isn't it? Kind of beachy color. Hi, Louise. Yes, Yarn Bee is Hobby Lobby. Yes, it is. I've only ever been to Hobby Lobby twice, I think. And yes, this came from Hobby Lobby. Yes. Anyways, yeah, we don't have this here. Yes. Oh, Diane's saying yes, it is Hobby Lobby. Yeah, it's not something that we can get here in Canada. And it's nice to knit with. I'm really, really liking it. The yarn is definitely very fine. It feels even finer than my Christmas sock yarn that I just finished that shawl, because the shawl I just showed you was sock yarn, and I knit it on a 4 millimeter needle, and it felt loose and drapey, but not super, super big. I tried this with the same needle because I thought, perfect. I just finished one shawl. I used the same needle, cast it on. With this yarn and the 4 millimeter needle, it was just the garter stitch looked lacy. It looked lacy. It was just too holy. And yeah, this just feels really, really fine, which is nice, but it just didn't work for a 4 millimeter needle. So it is on this needle. It is on this needle, and this is smaller than a 4. I can't remember. Is it a 3.5, 3.75? It's one of those. It's one of those. I can't remember now. But I did go smaller because I still wanted to have that drape. I didn't want it to be tight, 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 but I didn't want it to look super lacy. So I'm really, really happy with this gauge. It's loose, but not too loose. I don't know. And that's all personal preference, right? I mean, it's a shawl. Doesn't have to fit. You just want to get the drape of fabric that you like, so you can totally play around with the needle size, and if this is knit, yeah, 3.75, 3.5, 3.25, anything like that, you're probably going to be absolutely fine. The size will be a little different, but It'll be fine. It'll be fine. So I am off to a little bit of a start here. So we were just talking about how this has started. So there was the, let's see, get this out of the way. So 5 stitches down here. I just did a long tail cast on. I mean, you could do a cable cast on. It's only 5 stitches. I don't think it's going to matter. And then you can see there's my increases. That's where you can see little tiny. I always find it so hard to show this on screen. Oh, right there. You can see there are little tiny yarn overs in there. And then this side, you can see that's where your knit 2 together, knit the very last stitch. So each side has its own little pattern there. And then garter stitch in the center. And it just gets wider, wider, and wider as you go. So this is going to take me a little while because this is basically a 2 skein shawl. There was, what was the yardage? 400. No. Where is it here? Can never find it when I want to. There we go. 839 meters. 400 is like 420 is like a regular sock yarn. And this has got 839 meters, 918 yards. So I'm still hoping that I'm going to say I want to try really hard to see how much I can get done by the end of July. I really want to say I want it to be finished, but we'll see. We'll see. This is going to be my pickup, my go-to kind of project when knit night. You're on a Zoom knit night. This is the kind of project you want because you can look at your knitting and you know which row. There's only 2 rows you have to do, and you can tell by looking at it. Once you get the pattern down, once you know what you're doing, cannot get any easier. So I always like having one of these on the needles. I mean, I have literally said this 100 times. I just love having one on because it's so fun. It's easy to do. So this is what I'm thinking when I have got some vacation time, if I'm at the cottage, sitting around a campfire. I know it's just a good project to have on. So I'm going to see how far I can get on this project this month. But I do really want to work on the baby sweater and see how much I can get done on that in the next couple of weeks. And I have one more project to show you. Okay, this one is from a couple of weeks ago. And I'll show you. I just got a little start and then I left it because I wanted you to see the difference between the setup row and the first and second row. So hold on. Let me just take a quick drink and I will show this to you. It is the double knit pot holder. So this is going to be a really fun project. The yarn. I can't remember now what we were voting for this week. If it was green and orange, I have a feeling I picked the yarn for you, and then I think was it between a Fair Isle pot holder or a double knit? I think that's it, and I think you guys picked double knitting, which is I'm really excited about that. So let me grab it here. Let's talk a little bit about the yarn. I think I told you, I don't think I've shown this because I had just cast it on, and I think I had cast it on initially with the Italian tubular cast on. And I cast it on and I don't know, I just didn't really like it. So I pulled it out and then I just cast on with long tail cast on. You can do either. The benefit of doing a the tubular cast on or the Italian cast on for double knitting is that you're kind of already set up with a knit purl. But I don't know. I just didn't like how it looked. Probably was just me. My tension must have been wonky or something. So I just pulled it off and just recast it on with a long tail. And that works totally fine as well. But what I wanted to show you is just how your colors, your sides start to separate. double knitting. So this is going to be a 36 stitch wide pot holder. So think of just the size of a dishcloth is, I don't know, like that, 8 inches wide, hopefully, roughly, something like that. But you have to cast on twice as many stitches. So I wanted 36. What is that? 72 stitches, right? 36 times 2, you want 32 stitches for the green side, 36 stitches for the orange side. So you cast them all on your needle. And at first, it just looks like you have got all of these stitches and it's green, orange, green, orange, green, orange. And you're like, how in the world is this many stitches going to end up as a project this size? So, but it starts, you have to, so what I have on here is I did my long tail cast on in green, and then I did a setup row where I started alternating green and orange. And it was knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, just alternating between an orange knit, a green purl, orange knit, green purl. So this is what it looks like. And right there, when you're looking at this after your cast on row and one row, it still really doesn't look like double knitting. It just looks like a bunch of different colors, right? When I started the second row, you can see very clearly how the stitches start to separate. There's a green side and there's an orange side. So on this side, it doesn't show up quite as much because I cast on with green. So it's green, and then there's orange, and then the stitches on the needle are alternating. But when I turn it around, there's a very definite green side here. So this will be a green, and then this side will be my orange variegated side. So I just wanted to leave that because you can just see, just by doing cast on, one setup row, setting up your knits and purls, and then just starting row two, you can see how the colors start to separate out. So I just wanted to show that to you. So this is going to have a star pattern. I just picked up the first stitch pattern book that I could find. I flipped through and just kind of was like, this looks good. I didn't put a whole lot of thought in it, stars. So it's going to have 2 stars wide, and I'm just adding in a couple of extra stitch, like literally, I think 2 stitches on the end, 2 stitches between the stars, and 2 stitches on this end. And I'm going to do a few plain rows on the bottom. I'm going to start the stars, probably do a couple of rows plain, and then do the stars again, and maybe again. I don't know. I am just going to knit, and we're going to see how it looks. And we will end up with something somewhat square. This is going to be a prototype. So, and this one's just going to be for me in my kitchen. So if it's a little not square, a little more rectangle, or if I go a little taller, it'll be fine. It's also 100% wool, so I could always felt it. But anyways, this is started. I'm really excited to do this. I love this. And the kind of the secret for double knitting is you carry both yarns and you pull them between the needle tips. So just think as if you're doing ribbing and you move your working yarn to the front to purl, you pull it between the needles to the back to do your knit stitches. You do the same thing, except both yarns have to move together. So you'll get in trouble if you've got your yarn at the back and you pick up your yarn and you knit, and then you bring the next color forward to purl. But if you leave one at the back, you're going to end up with a strand. I'll have my nice green side, and if I didn't move both my colors, I would have an orange yarn, just a random little orange yarn across the back, and messing up my nice solid green, which is easy to fix. Easy, easy to fix. But just to avoid that, you just always think both of the yarns go together. If you want a purl, bring both of them between the needle tips to the front of your work, then just pick up the yarn that you need to purl with. The other one just hangs there. When you need to knit, you take both yarns to the back, you pick up the color that you need to knit with, let the other one hang, you knit your knit stitch, and then they both come to the front again. And you just keep working back and forth, just like that. Hi, Sam. Yes, I will be. So that's that. So this is on the go. So I'm just winging it. So we'll see. But it's a pot holder, right? What's the worst thing that's going to happen? It's not going to be completely centered or it's not going to be perfectly square, but you know what? It'll work in my kitchen just fine. And then the next one, if I reknit it, I'll be able to know I'll add or decrease a few rows here or there, add in a few extra in between the patterns, we'll just play with it. So this will be like a working gauge swatch and I'll see what I end up with. But I'm super excited. I haven't done a double knit project, haven't done and finished one in a little while, so I'm excited to knit with this. And I'm even more excited because I dyed this yarn. And I'm really, really excited for it. And I would really have to go back and look to see what I did. I'm almost wondering if maybe this was Kool-Aid. I don't know. It could be acid dyes too. Okay, it doesn't smell. I was gonna say, do I smell vinegar? Because even though with well, most of the time, okay, let me start this thought again. With Kool-Aid, when you dye yarn with Kool-Aid, you do not need to add vinegar. The Kool-Aid has the citric acid already in there, so it will hold to the yarn. But sometimes I still, just because I don't want to get out of the habit of adding vinegar, I sometimes will add it in with the Kool-Aid. Just when I switch back to acid dyes, I don't want to forget to not put it in. But sometimes you can smell it. But I do use that. I do use vinegar sometimes with the acid dyes. Or anyways, I must have rinsed this really well because I don't smell any vinegar, so that's not going to help me. Anyways, I don't know. Kool-Aid or acid dyes, I'm not sure, but I did dye this. And it's really fun. It's got pink in there, orange and yellow, like really perfect summery kind of colors. So I'm really excited to see how this knits up. Um, this could be a Briggs and Little. I don't think this is um, Creamsicle. Oh, you're right. It could totally be Creamsicle, couldn't it? It is really rusticy. So I'm thinking that this is maybe a Briggs and Little yarn that I just dyed. But anyways, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to worry too much about figuring out what I dyed this with, whether it was Kool-Aid, whether it was last year when the Fiber Friends we were doing dyeing in the summertime is probably when I did it. And I know I did a bunch of like experimenting with Kool-Aid colors, which is why I'm thinking, I wonder if that's what it was. Kind of think that's maybe what it is. But anyways, Kool-Aid yarn that's dyed with Kool-Aid, it is really color fast. I've knit hat and mitts with Kool-Aid and I have worn them for years and years and years. And yeah, not noticed that the color has faded significantly. Maybe, if you had a sample, probably, but probably like a lot of things, right? I mean, the original is probably going to be darker after a number of years, anyways, whether it's acid dyes or Kool-Aid. But yeah, I've had no problem with Kool-Aid. So, Fiber Friends, we are going to do a little bit of yarn dyeing in August. So, if that's something you're interested in, we're not actually making it a formal challenge for the month. But I know there's a small group of us that do like to dye yarn every summer. So I am going to um, pick a weekend or we'll do some dyeing in August, whether you guys want to pick the same weekend that I'm going to do it or you want to do the weekend before or after or something, doesn't really matter. But August, we're going to talk a little bit more about yarn dyeing. So we'll probably talk about it here on Monday nights as well as Saturday mornings over on the Fiber Friends, because if you're interested at all in yarn dyeing, just think about it. Grab some, I'm going to say wool. You can do cotton, but that's a whole entirely different process. If you have some 100% cotton or alpaca, but typically you can find some yarns 100% wool, white, cream, off-white, even light gray or light beige is fine. And you can get Kool-Aid or you can get food coloring dyes from Michael's. They work well too, and some vinegar. And if you go that route, you can use your kitchen tools and your kitchen microwave or just a large pot on the stove. And as long as you're using Kool-Aid and Wilton's cake icing dyes, those are both food grade. You can use your kitchen utensils. If you use anything that is acid dyes, you're going to want separate pots, separate tongs, separate spoons, separate measuring cups, separate everything. And you don't want to cross contaminate and use that in your kitchen again if you use acid dyes. So, if you're thinking about dyeing yarn, that's going to be a little over a month away. But if you want to start collecting some supplies, now is the time to do it. All right. Oh, Carol, you forgot it was Monday. It is Monday, but it's been a holiday Monday for us here, so it's going to kind of mess up our whole week. Is going to be a little bit shorter, and I know our friends in the U.S. You guys are coming up. You've got your holiday on Thursday, so it's not really a long weekend for you, is it? Unless you happen to have been lucky, and maybe you've got Friday off as well. Then it'll be an extra long weekend. Okay, we're right at 9 o'clock. Okay, so just we'll take a couple of minutes here before we go. Is anybody else have anything that they're casting on, or anything you're finishing, or anything you're working on that you want to put in the chat before we head out? Jocelyn and I will be here Friday night. It is our goal check-in night. So if you have nothing else to do on a Friday night in the summer and you want to grab a cold drink and grab your knitting, join us. We'll be here at 7:30, so half an hour earlier than we started tonight. And Jocelyn and I will be here for an hour, hour and a half, talking about who knows what. Jocelyn and I, we always seem to end up on these kind of crazy topics, with a little bit of knitting thrown in, but it is always fun. So you're more than welcome to join us Friday night too. And then Saturday, Cheryl and I will be on the Fiber Friends channel, and we'll be drawing winners from the Get Her Done challenge. I've had a very successful Get Her Done month. I'm going to just keep riding those finishing vibes right through for as long as I can. So is it, oh, okay. So everybody must just be busy knitting away and there's no chat in here, which is fine. Well, then, you guys, I think we will just wrap up. So thank you so much for voting. I'm super excited about this baby sweater. I'll post some in progress pictures over the week. And then next Monday, there will be a video. Okay, so I am on vacation again next Monday. Um, there'll be something. I don't think I'm going to try to go live because where I'm going, the internet is not always all that reliable. So I think I will try to record something for Sunday and then upload it so it will go up. Um, in on Monday night. So there won't be a live Monday night, but there will be something that you can watch. So I'll show you the progress on the baby sweater, but we will still do the voting on Monday, and then I will just do a post of what the winner is. So yeah, I think that's the route we'll go on the Mondays that I happen to be on vacation a couple of times. There's a week in August, and there's a week in July and a week in August, probably. That will maybe a couple recorded videos. So we'll see how that goes. Anyways, Olson, thank you so much for watching, and same to everybody else. Oh, Nancy, I'm almost done an infinity scarf made in King Cole fashion Aran yarn. Oh, that sounds nice, Aran. So that's going very quick. Good night, Liz. Oh, Dawn, you cast on some socks today and a cute gingham pouch with Diane. Oh my gosh, Diane, I love the fact that you two girls are always. Oh, the gingham pouch. Did we show that on Saturday? I feel like we did. Anyways, for the BIPOC challenge, yes. So the Fiber Friends, what we're doing this month is really spotlighting some designers. And so it's a BIPOC designer challenge month. So you can pick from any designer who falls under that category, and there is a lot of them. and some absolutely amazing designs. So, oh, Diane says we do too. Oh, we did. I thought so. I thought it sounded familiar. So yeah, so if you're taking part in that, go over to the Fiber Friends and just post your picture, share the link if you can do that. And yeah, we just want to share some love to some designers, as I know I am finding a lot of designers that I had never heard of before. So that's always fun. So, all right, everybody, thank you so much for voting. Thank you for watching. And thank you for everybody who chatted in the comments. It's always lovely. It's a great way to start off the week. So, have a fantastic week. And Jocelyn and I will be back, like I said, Friday night to close out the week. And we'll see how your week has been. I hope you guys have a fantastic week filled with lots of knitting time and enjoy the summer weather. Bye, everybody.